Varanasi, India's holiest city. Millions of Hindus believe whoever dies here will be saved.
For us, death is a celebration.
Here I meet people who make a living from dying.
I dreamed of studying and leading a better life, not having to do this job.
In Varanasi, I'm pushed to my limits. But I also meet people with incredible strength.
I'm never really afraid.
And I learn that dying doesn't have to be a terrible thing.
One should make peace with death.
A few years ago, I lost my mother. It took me quite some time to process her death. I was often extremely sad. It's said that here, in this hospice in Varanasi, death is approached very differently. It's known as Mukti Bhawan, House of Salvation. Kalikant Dubey is a priest here at Mukti Bhawan. He begins his rituals early in the morning. Usually the priests would carry them out in private. An exception has been made for me to be present while he applies holy ash to a stone. Through the process, the stone becomes the symbol of a Hindu god.
The people who come to us are seeking salvation. Our guests believe that if they die in Varanasi, they can escape the cycle of eternal rebirth. We accompany them by playing songs, giving them basil and water from the Ganges.
Can you explain to me again the main rules of Mukti Bhawan and why you have these rules?
The people who come to us have 15 days to die. Only those seeking salvation should come here. No one should stay here for free accommodation or for months. The only aim here is salvation.
15 days to die. To me, that sounds almost stressful, like having a clock ticking for your final breaths. But devout Hindus don't seem bothered by it. Are all 10 rooms full sometimes?
Yes, of course, sometimes all the rooms are occupied. In September or October, all the rooms were really full.
So this is the room?
Yes, exactly, this is it. We have 2 beds, one for the person seeking salvation and one for the person accompanying them. Sometimes more family members come. Then we lay out mattresses on the floor.
The room only costs 20 cents a night. Why is it so cheap?
People basically stay here for free. We only charge 20 cents so that not too much electricity is used. The low amount is also to remind them they shouldn't stay here with us indefinitely. The room is really just meant for moving into salvation.
For devout Hindus, Varanasi is a very special city. It's here that one of their principal deities, Shiva, is said to reside. India's longest river also flows through here, the Ganges. For many Hindus, it's the physical manifestation of the goddess Ganga. It's believed that bathing in the Ganges can help wash away all sins. Illnesses, too, are said to be cured with just one sip of the holy water. Rambali also believes in the power of the river. For over 50 years, he's been rowing on the Ganges.
Namaste. Namaste.
Hello, how are you?
Kya haal hai?
Very well.
हाँ. आपका नाम क्या है?
What's your name?
My name is Ram Bali.
मेरा नाम Oliver.
I'm Oliver.
Ram is a god. Bali stands for the monkey god. Ram is an especially powerful god.
हाँ.
Rambali is 73 years old. He's spent his whole life in Varanasi. He tells me that he owes all his energy and health to the Ganges.
कभी कभी
Do you sometimes drink the water as well?
पानी पीता है?
Yes, of course.
Yes, take now.
Even now.
Now this one part of take.
Now he's drinking the water.
Is the water? This is water?
Ganges water,
Holy water, holy water.
holy water.
Holy water.
Studies have shown how polluted the Ganges can be in Varanasi. The water is so toxic that fish can barely survive. Here, though, the science seems to play a less important role than faith.
A person must have bathed in the Ganges at least 3 times.
Like the children.
Once after birth,
Up you come in. First take the bath. Second time.
the second time after
like
the wedding,
marriage,
and the third
Last
time
date,
after
like
death.
the death.
Death is ever present on the Ganges. Sometimes even with corpses floating in the water.
कुछ नहीं करेंगे. चले जाएगी फिर अपना नाप आगे बढ़ा लेंगे.
Things like that don't bother me at all. I just keep rowing. It's just a body. The soul has long since left it.
कोई डर नहीं लगता.
After we die, all that's left is a lifeless body.
मर जाएंगे तो हमारी बॉडी भी इसी में करते हैं हम.
हाँ, ठीक है.
A surprisingly sober thought for me. I find it hard to separate the body from the essence of the deceased. I visit the place where most bodies are cremated in Varanasi, the Manikanika Ghat. The smoke, the smell, and what I see overwhelms me. Death is visible everywhere. There's no attempt to hide the burning bodies, organs, or charred limbs. For this man, it's all part of everyday life. Cremating corpses is Pachkosi Chodhari's job.
I'm 33 years old now. I first came here aged 13, and I burned maybe 4 or 5 corpses a year. Later it became more. I washed the dead in the Ganges. It looked very different here back then. I basically work all the time. If I don't do the job, who will? We take care of everything. No one would otherwise.
It must be tough. Pachkosi is a member of the Dom caste, one of the lowest in Indian society. He earns about 2.5 euros for a fire. It takes about 3 hours to burn a body.
For us, it's all routine.
So it's normal for you?
Habit.
Yes, I'm used to it. But we still treat the dead as human beings. We even talk to them.
The dead, Pachkosi explains to me, ought to be buried with dignity. During breaks, he gets into the Ganges, where the ashes of the deceased are scattered. Here, he looks for valuables. Sometimes he gets lucky, as he has now, finding a chain. In the murky, polluted water, he can barely see where he is stepping.
I could cut myself in this glass here. Best to throw it away.
It's hard for me to comprehend the conditions Pachkosi has to work under. And I have immense respect for what he does. I wonder if he would prefer another job.
Of course, I would like to follow another profession, but the work here means a lot to me. If God gave me the opportunity of a new job, I would take it. Otherwise, I'll stay here.
Pachkosi has 3 children. It's his wish for them not to have to one day work here at the Manikanika Ghat. I'll meet him again in a few days. Then he'll tell me his plans to create a better future for them. At 6 a.m., I receive a message from the hospice. They want me to come as quickly as possible. So far, Mukti Bhawan has been empty. We just received a call from the owner saying that a person arrived last night. They want to die right here in Varanasi. They've asked if we want to come and talk to the family, so we're on our way there now. I have great respect for the chance to meet a dying person and their family.
Namaste.
Some 20 family members are taking care of the elderly man. I'm suddenly uncertain if we should even be here.
We are doing a movie about death in Varanasi. Is it okay if we talk to you, if we look how you deal with the whole situation? Is that okay for you?
No problem at all. We're happy to share with people who maybe don't know much about our religion and show them how we approach this difficult situation.
I learn that the sick man is his father-in-law. His name is Sri Loknath Tiwari. He's 82 years old and can only breathe with the help of a ventilator.
He can't see anymore. Everything is dark.
This person blank.
It's hard for us. He is really in a critical condition.
But are you happy that you're here in Varanasi?
Very happy. Very, very happy. His blessing is always with us.
Thank you for talking to us in this difficult time.
I am very.
No, you came to us. That is really kind of you.
It is very kind of you.
Thank you so much.
So far, this has been for me the most extreme situation we have filmed. This family, naturally concerned for a family member who's about to die, has nonetheless welcomed us into their circle.
Und die uns trotzdem irgendwie hier in ihren
And wants to show us how their culture works, how they deal with death.
Wie ihre Kultur funktioniert, wie sie mit dem Tod umgehen. I asked one of his sons, Satendra Tiwari, why it was important enough for the whole family to travel to Varanasi.
When my father dies, I want him to die happy. I want all of the family to be there. Until now, he's been stuck in the eternal cycle of rebirth. By dying here in Varanasi, he should finally break that cycle.
When my mother was about to die, I felt very, very sad. I feel like you people are sad, but also happy at the same time. Is that right?
Yes, death is a celebration for us. It's one of the most important rituals, like birth and marriage. We celebrate death. You leave so much behind, so much pain. In Hinduism, we talk about there being 8.4 million different life forms. To be born as a human is to be blessed by God. Only as a human can you achieve salvation. If you miss the chance, you have to go through the entire cycle again.
When did you decide that you would come here to Varanasi, and how did you organize that the whole family can come?
As I go to ask him the next question, it suddenly goes dark. There's a power outage here, which of course is terrible, because the ventilator for his father has now stopped. For the first time, the room grows restless. It seems as if death has become more real, more tangible for the family. I suspect the family would prefer to be alone for the time being. On the banks of the Ganges, I meet tea seller Ram Yadav. His family has lived in Varanasi for 7 generations.
Ramji, you are so close to Manikarnika Ghat. What kind of people do you meet? Do you meet sad people? Do you meet people that are happy that their relative passed away here in Varanasi? What kind of impression do you get from the people here?
Many people who have just lost a loved one come to my tea shop. It's often the case that they're sad or crying. Some struggle with losing their father, their mother, son or other family members.
How can you comfort these people? Do you try to give them some comfort through your food, through your tea, through talking? How do you do it?
When people tell me about their problems, I explain to them that God has given each of us only a set number of days. People are always looking for money or happiness, but everything, from birth and death, is predestined by God. I tell them there's no reason to cry. They can live happily and in peace. Everyone has lost someone they loved at some point. No one is immortal. Everyone has to go someday.
Once again, I'm made aware that death here isn't necessarily seen as something terrible. I ask him if he's afraid of dying himself.
No, I'm not afraid of death. There's no reason to worry or be afraid. One day I will die too. I'd rather embrace death. It's best to make friends with death.
Evenings in Varanasi. Every day, a ceremony to honor the Ganges is held on the riverbank. Thousands of worshippers gather here. The spiritual significance the city holds means many can make a living here. Kajal is 9 years old. Each day, her mother paints her up as the Hindu deity Shiva. Her family, including a 5-year-old brother, has been homeless for some time.
I don't have a husband. That's why we live here on the riverbank. We came here mainly because of my heart condition, to earn at least a little money.
Yes, we'd like to have a room, but we can't afford it.
How did you get the idea of her walking around dressed as Lord Shiva?
A lot of people suggested it to me. They told me, you have no husband and you need a heart operation. Your daughter could walk around as Shiva. I need about 500 or 600 euros for the operation. So we're trying to get the money this way.
Kajal collects around 500 rupees in one day, a little over 5 euros.
I feel bad about it, but I can't see any other way. Once I have enough money for the operation, I'll stop sending her out.
What does your daughter say? She seems like a happy child. Does she sometimes complain? Does she understand what she's doing there?
No, she never complains. She does a lot for me. She always tells me, I'll live only if you live. That's why she's collecting money for my operation.
Every afternoon follows the same routine. After applying makeup, Kajal mingles with the tourists, hoping to bring home as much money as possible.
Give me money.
I will.
Give me 50 cents.
I don't have that much.
Give it to me now. Stop that.
Show her face. That's enough.
No, I'm not taking that.
Take this, 20 cents. Here.
Today, Kajal has collected just under €4, enough for a little food for her family, but not enough to save for the operation.
I don't feel good about what I'm doing. I'm only doing it for my mother. Some people even call me a beggar. I always tell them I'm not the beggar. They are.
Do you sometimes get in dangerous situations or situations that you don't like?
Actually, I'm never afraid. I'm only scared of the thought that my mother might die. I don't want my mother to die.
I admire Kajal's strength, and I find it terrible that this 9-year-old has to deal with death so early in life. Death and life. In Mukti Bhawan, they're close neighbors. A man dies, and right next to him, children play. Alongside them, the family of 20 also needs to be taken care of.
हाँ जीवन तो यही है मुख्य रूप से ये व्यक्ति जो यहाँ लेकर के आता है
That's life.
ये सोचता है कि हम
People come here when doctors have said there's nothing more they can do. Their final wish is to come to God. Whoever dies here in Varanasi can consider themselves lucky. The children, of course, don't understand all this yet. They don't know what's happening here.
Now they came with the whole family, sab parivar mein, so can as many people come as they like?
हमारे यहाँ मुख्य रूप से कम 2 से कम नहीं होना चाहिए ज़्यादा संख्या में
Well, at least 2 people should accompany the sick person. In this case, it's 15 to 20. Sometimes 10 or 15 family members come. We never say no. Here, everyone is offered a roof over their head.
विषम परिस्थिति में आए हुए हैं मोक्ष के लिए तो फिर रखा जाएगा
The dying are blessed 3 times a day, Part of the ritual includes drinking a drop of the Ganges holy water. The family sees mainly the good for their relative.
Whoever comes here knows that there will be no rebirth for them. In life, there is so much pain. You meet people, then part ways. There is so much suffering, so many illnesses. Death in Varanasi means freedom from all that. The ultimate freedom.
How much responsibility do you feel as a son right now in this situation?
Well, being a father is a big thing. No matter what I did, it could never be enough. Even if I gave my own skin for him, I'll never be able to replace my father. I can never repay what he's done for me. We try to explain this to the children. In the evening we pray and talk with each other. Whether we're alive or not, God is there for everyone.
I notice the family's sadness that they will soon lose a loved one. Yet at the same time, they're happy and grateful that they have fulfilled his last wish, that he's able to die here in Varanasi. On the banks of the Ganges, Pachkosi works late into the evening. Bodies are burned here around the clock. It's a job the 33-year-old never really wanted.
I dreamed of studying, leading a better life, not having to do this job here. But I have no proper education. I've had many problems. I tried different jobs. Nothing really worked out for me.
He does not want his 3 children to one day have to risk their own health in the smoke.
When my children have completed their education, as engineers, for instance, they'll have a completely different future ahead of them. They can choose other professions. It hurts to see the people who've ended up here. Only those who are blessed get better jobs nowadays.
He wants his children to live the dream that was denied to him.
My dream is for them to get an education, to become better people, build a good circle of friends. If I can support their dreams, I'll do everything I can to make it happen.
It's just after 5 a.m. It's untypically quiet in Mukti Bhawan.
Gerade ist der Mann gestorben.
The man just passed away. I feel incredibly sorry for the family. At the same time, I believe the family is glad it's over now.
vorbei ist und dass
and that he will hopefully find salvation here in Varanasi.
Erlösung erhalten wird.
I'm happy for him. He did everything for his family, right until the last moment. Now his family must let go. They brought him here to Varanasi, knowing this would be the last station of his life. The family will gather everything that's needed for the burning of the body. Then they'll carry the body from here to the banks of the Ganges. There it will be decorated and then burned.
Everything has to move quickly now. The soul is to be freed from the dead body. While the men shoulder the physical weight, the women stay behind. They're not permitted to participate in the funeral ceremony. Now they're carrying him through the streets of Varanasi for everyone to see. Not even his face is covered. To me, it's very strange, of course. For everyone else around us, it's completely normal. The relatives carry the deceased man's possessions with them. His belongings will be given away. It would bring bad luck to keep them in the family after his death. Arrival at the banks of the Ganges, where the deceased is to be burned. In the moment of grief, fixed rituals provide support. Before the funeral, the eldest son of the family has his head shaved, a way to pay respect to his father. In the meantime, firewood for the funeral pyre needs to be organized. It costs about 100 euros for the 400 kilos needed. The family places their relative onto the wood themselves. Then finally, the fire is ignited. The eldest son touches his father's skull 3 times, a symbolic gesture. The skull is supposed to break open, releasing the soul. It's time for the farewells. I think of the family. What must be going through their minds during the fire? For them, a 13-day period of mourning now begins. I was in Varanasi for 3 weeks. It was the most intense shoot of my life. It was a period in which I felt sad, thoughtful, and at the same time, happy. When I arrived, I thought to myself, how could anyone want to die here, in this crowded, noisy place where the smell of burned bodies is in the air everywhere? Now I've at least to some extent developed an understanding of it. I've learned why people have a more positive approach to death. This shoot has also changed me personally. I've noticed that my fear of dealing with death has fallen away more and more. Death, in a way, is part of life. I find that a really beautiful and reassuring thought.
Inzwischen einen wirklich schönen und auch beruhigenden Gedanken.